Hi and welcome everybody. This is Abhyuday Agarwal from 𝗨𝗧𝗂. I'm a co-founder and COO at 𝗨𝗧𝗂. And today I want to welcome you to the session that I'm conducting on how to prepare your mindset for peak performance for judiciary exams. But before I start, I am really interested in knowing from you on chat that what are you currently doing? Are you in law school? Have you graduated? Are you graduating next year? Are you practicing? When you have you decided that you want to attempt a judiciary exam? Have you started preparing? Where are you at currently? Have you attempted the exam once or more number of times? So I want to know a little bit about you so that my discussion can be fruitful for you and I can appropriately customize it for you, right? Great, Akash. It's amazing to have you here. It's great that you have started exploring the direction for your career at such an early age. And it is good, okay? First year is a good time to seriously start thinking, and you're at the right place. What about the others? Okay, good, Akash. Stay tuned, and I'm really happy to have you here. And I would like to know from some of the others here about where you are at with respect to your law school career, your judiciary prep, or your career as a lawyer. Okay, so I'm going to start now, okay? And the others, please feel free to write which year you are in, what are you studying. So, what are we going to discuss? We're going to discuss a few things about your mindset, health, and habits. By the way, when I started looking at the kinds of judiciary trainings available in the market, the kinds of books, and when I started looking at from the perspective of a uh, you know of how can somebody prepare for this exam, I realized that there's tons of classes, tons of training, lots of advice floating around. But I was like, the first thing that struck me was this is a very long game. And it's not even like, let's say, the IIT or civils. What people do is they study in the last 1 or 2 years for the civils and crack it. But judiciary has been a very important, popular career choice for people, and they want to start preparing for it really early on. Okay, now it takes a lot of preparation, a lot of work, and before you can put that kind of work, your health, your mental state need to be in a good shape, and you need to have the right habits in place. What could those habits be? Okay, now why am I talking about this? You will see that after you will notice this, that there are some people who crack the judiciary exam. What is different about them? How have they managed? And you may be looking around you also, you might find some people who are very dedicated, very focused. How are they successfully managing to study effectively? How do they manage to crack the exam while others have been sitting for years? There are people who crack it in the first attempt. There are people who've been preparing for 4 years, 5 years, and still haven't been able to crack it. Okay, and yet they seem to be dedicated, everything seems to be working, but they do not crack the exam. Why is that happening? Have you wondered that till the final stage, you could call it the end game for those of you who like watching the Marvel series, but till the end game, really, what does it take for us to stay on track with our preparation plans? Because see, what happens is when you start studying, you start off excited. It's easy to hold excitement for some time, right? It's easy to push yourself, pump yourself up, keep the adrenaline high. But over time, what happens is that we start to slow down. Some people lose sight of their goal, some people stop studying. And by the way, this is not shared by them to anybody else. They don't tell people that, hey, look, I've stopped studying for the judiciary exam, I've fallen off track, That doesn't happen, right? What happens for them is that silently to themselves, they know that, okay, my direction, I'm losing direction. After that, they have lost direction completely and they don't know what to say. So they are unable to even ask, inform others, take help, all of that. But to themselves, for themselves, they're not studying, but for all the others, they are actually working at it. And expectations are super high, but our own self image of ourselves is like, I don't know what I'm going to do, and we are unable to share that kind of panic with anybody or that state with anybody. Now, I want to flesh out the biggest problem here. Okay, most of you have this feeling that the ability to work hard is the most important thing. Okay, and I am saying something else. I am saying that it is not about the ability to work hard. In fact, there are various ingredients but I'm talking about mindset, health, or habits. Three things I said, huh? Mindset, which is the state of your mind. Health is your body health, okay? And habits is what you do. These are three separate things, literally three pillars, okay? Now, these are what will enable you to work hard, work smart, to be consistent, all of that. Okay, but it is not the ability to work hard. And people, this is just an oversimplification. So please do not blindly rely on the idea that if I can work hard, I'm going to do it, and I am a hard worker, therefore I'll do it. There are so many people who are unable to work hard despite knowing that they need to work hard. And there are others who work really, really hard and still fail to crack the exam. That means that it's got to be something else, right? And it's not the ability to work hard. It is the other three elements that I said. So mindset, health, and specific habits. Okay, now I'm going to discuss those together. But let me tell you one thing. This session is unique because you won't have this conversation in your law school curriculum. Your faculty would usually say be dedicated, be devoted, be serious. You know, there's that advice, there is a moral tone to it that you will be finding. I'm going to keep this objective. Okay, this is not going to be about morality. Then there is in coaching classes, you will see people say that okay, work hard when you are there. There is generalistic gyan, right? That when you, if you work hard, you will enjoy the fruits of success. When you become a judge, they will respect you. You will realize how good it is. There are various kinds of these platitudes, you can call, that people giving. These are generalizations. A lot of our self-study plans also ignore this. What do we plan out when we think of self-study? We think of what to study, what mocks to give, okay, and how much time to dedicate in a day to study. But nobody gives time or advises giving time to your mental health. Nobody takes care of nutrition. Nobody takes care of physical health, okay? And you will be surprised to know the kind of role that these factors play, because the judiciary exam is a long game. For somebody like Akash, who's in the first year, or somebody in the fifth year, or somebody who's cracked the exam, even who's attempted the exam once, that you got to prepare for the long run, and you need more ammunition. So idealistic advice is abundant. You will have parents, teachers, coaching class, professors giving you a lot of gyan that, okay, work hard, you will succeed. Look, that person's daughter did so well and has become a judge. I became a judge in the older days. This is the way I did it. You should do it this way. And you also will obviously respect the people who have got some level of success, right? So what happens when you listen to that advice is that for your own self, this becomes a taunt, because somebody else did it, somebody else's daughter or son is doing it, and your relatives nailed it, became judges. And now that becomes, rather than a medicine, it becomes like a taunt, right? And it becomes very nagging, and instead of actually motivating us, it becomes demotivating. Now, I specifically wanted to have this session because I've put in some components that I've put together after years of self-development work, building 𝗨𝗪𝘂 into a 100-member company, okay, in 3 years, and earlier building multi-crore fast-growing businesses, okay, which are focused on helping law students succeed. So it's not in a different direction. It is focused on helping you succeed to build a large company, the kind of work that I did, okay, and that required not just work, but it required self-development so that I'm able to do the work, okay. So our students have been able to get the best jobs in the country and get success at various positions, right? So what are my learnings? What are my from this journey, and from the journey of personal self-development and coaching others? That's what I'm putting here up for free. Okay, so the first part is about looking at your self-esteem and motivation levels. Okay, the important thing to look at here is that you might think that some people are really good with really driven, they are always working, focused, they have a direction. But do you think that they are born motivated? Okay, and I'm really open to having your inputs here on chat. Do you think that they are born motivated, or do you think that they have put in some mindset or some approach? Something is there, something else is also there that they have cultivated about themselves, which makes them be able to be in this position. What do you think? Okay, and my take on this has been, because I know from the time that I started. I quit a very well-paying corporate law job to start my own company. In the first few years, didn't take any salary. That would kill motivation from time to time, right? And I know that motivation is something which is always fluctuating, and it takes maintenance work. It takes creative work to be able to maintain and increase your motivation levels. Sometimes my motivation levels are really high, sometimes they're not so high. Okay, but I have found that it is possible to increase them and play around with that level. Okay, you can keep increasing it further and further, and irrespective of where you start out from. Okay, this is a first perspective to know about motivation, and I will explore with you on how to build that a notch up. Okay, the second thing to look at is your self-esteem levels. Okay, now you want to ask yourself this question. You don't have to answer this to me unless you feel like. You want to ask yourself this question: do I deserve good things in life? Do I think that it is possible for you to succeed? This is the non-negotiable starting point. Now the thing is that you might say this, that you deserve great things and that you want to succeed, but inside your head there will be a voice that says that um, I really don't think I'm ever going to succeed. Okay, I think my life is going to always be hell. I feel I'm always going to be trapped. Okay, and these thoughts come to everybody, by the way. Okay, so do not expect a permanent one day I will get this injection and I will be in great space. That doesn't happen. Okay, it is maintenance work. It'll keep going up and down. You will be in a position to regulate it. But for now, there are a lot of people who work hard and they don't succeed. And if you look at how they think, you will realize that somewhere they don't think and they don't believe that they are entitled to good things in life, or that they can eventually succeed. Okay, and many people even think that if I think of success, I'm going to feel very disheartened by failure, and therefore what do they think about is only failure, and what ends up happening to them is failure. And if they succeed, then their succeed is in the fear of failure. So they succeed somehow, but the whole experience of success is not one of success. They succeed in one way to sit down and just be like exhausted and relieve themselves of exhaustion, and the whole experience is the same experience. It's the experience of stress, exhaustion, the fear of failure. That's the experience. So they may succeed or they may fail, but that's how they walk over there, and 99% they fail. Okay, so this is the important. Now why is that happening? That's because somebody told them earlier in their past that if you think of good things, something bad will happen and you'll feel really sad. You should not feel really sad. Therefore people don't even think that they deserve good things, and they can't imagine themselves cracking the exam. So how will they prepare in a way that they see themselves cracking the exam? How will they prepare like that? Right? They don't take the responsibility of cracking the exam. They're like, I can't afford to think that I'll crack it. Then how are you going to prepare for it like that? Okay, so now this part is very important. Therefore, before you can start, or on the side in parallel while studying, you want to be very clear about recognizing and being at peace with your current level of self-esteem. Okay, what does this mean? So don't expect self-esteem levels to be perfect. In many cases they can be very low. In some cases they'll be low. In some cases they'll be good. Okay, it doesn't matter, but this is not a permanent indicator. There is no thermometer saying that normal self-esteem level is 98.6. It'll keep fluctuating with time. Good news will make you feel happy, bad news will make you feel sad. A few times when you ignore what you've been wanting to do, your self-esteem will dip. Okay, so what you want to do is think of this, that from time to time, if I face failure or if things get difficult, what does my inner voice tell me about myself? This voice is your voice of self-esteem also, and it's kind of judgmental in nature. It's very judgmental. It says that I can't do this. Maybe good things will never happen to me. Maybe I'll never have a work-life balance. Okay, I'll never be stress-free in life. I'll never be successful. I'll never have enough money. Okay, now these are around the self-esteem of I will never be enough or I will never have enough. And what it is I'll not have enough of could be peace, freedom, money, happiness, anything. But not having enough of something is the articulation, is the voice that says what you can have and what you cannot have. So the question you want to grapple with, now most people, what do? These thoughts are very, very stark. You might feel like daunted by these. So a lot of people ignore this. Now the problem with this, with ignoring and suppressing this, is that it continues to play its part. It's like ignoring that you have a thief in your house and it's taking all the assets away. Okay. So you can ignore the thief, and that encourages the thief to be there, continue stealing things, right? Instead, if the thief knows, if you acknowledge that the thief is there and the thief knows that he's under watch, in a lot of cases, what will the thief do? The thief will run. The thief will run away, right? So what you want to do, the first thing is that you want to recognize what's your current level of self-esteem. And you can be okay with the fact that you can't change it immediately or that it is low. Okay. And trust me, this happens to everybody. People don't do this work. This happens to me as well from time to time. Not having enough peace, feeling stressed out, feeling anxious keeps happening. You've got to keep working on it. It goes away. Not forever. Okay. You can't have a bath for one day in your life and expect to be clean every day, right? Self-esteem work is the same. Okay. So once you are able to be with it, you can start doing some work on it. This is literally a parallel dimension. And I cannot explain in how many ways that if you do this work in parallel with your studies, this is going to have some fantastic results. Okay, so now you can think of how to bump it up and keep it there. And there are about 6 or 7 techniques that I'm talking about. And fortunate thing is, if you follow it, it'll work. Unfortunate thing is that if you let your current level of self-esteem impact even the work to do to bump it up, it's going to prevent you from improving your level of self-esteem. So here are a few things you can do. Okay, this is the most awkward one if we look at especially our way of thinking, right? We want to tap into what will happen if we succeed. Visualize yourself succeeding. Now, if you look at Olympic athletes, okay, they always, before starting a race, they do this thing called creative visualization. They are visualizing themselves succeed, and it contributes to their success always. We, on the other hand, have grown up thinking that if you visualize yourself succeeding, you don't know what, you'll be broken if you fail. But every Olympic athlete doesn't win every race and every championship and every tournament. Okay, so the thing is that you will survive failure. You will anyway survive failure. The point is, how do you increase your chances of success? So now you want to visualize what happens if you succeed. What does this mean for your judiciary prep? If you're going to study for judiciary exams, and whether you're in first year, second year, fifth year, you've been practicing for 3 years and you want to give an attempt at the judiciary exam, you want to visualize yourself fully. Like, you live in your house, you used to go to college, you have friends, you have a reality around this, right? So you want to visualize what will it look like when I'm a judge? What kind of house I will have, what kind of perks I will have, what kind of power I will have, what kind of responsibility I will have, what will I be proud of with myself? Who else can I say that, who else can I say to that I did it, and I've done what I set out to achieve, and I've started a new journey. Now I am actually doing something really amazing with my life. Okay, who can you say this to? What can you feel about yourself? What kind of life will you have? What about that life will be beautiful? What will that life enable you to do next? Okay, literally you want to think of these questions. This webinar, you want to play this again and again. Take out 10 minutes to write it in a notebook. Okay, and because you cannot visualize in the mind alone, you visualize something and then you try to write it in words, because human beings think and speak in language. So you write, when you write it, it forms shape firmly in your mind. The thought crystallizes when you write it. The image becomes definite, clear when you write it. Okay, so you want to visualize this as deeply as possible. Okay, why are you doing this? You're doing this so that you can actually know where your destination is and that you can consider yourself deserving of it. Not entitled, but deserving. Okay, so that if you do the work, you know that I fully deserve it, so therefore I must work for it. Okay, so I want you to focus on not the working part, but the visualizing part here. Okay, working part will happen, but first we focus on the visualizing part. Second thing is to use a mechanism of journaling. You can use a daily journal, you can use an annual calendar, you can use Google Keep Notes. Writing with the hand is a lot better than typing. It just, you will remember things better. Okay, and it doesn't matter if you don't read your journal again and again. But whatever you're thinking, it just makes sense to write it, and write it with pen and paper. Okay. Uh, I have used these techniques a lot. So you can use self-journaling, or you can answer to specific questions about your visualization, which is also a form of journaling. Okay. So use that, and on a day-to-day basis, build that visualization, see it, and look at yourself and see, where do you stand now? Where do you stand today? Okay. In fact, people have a practice of even writing negative emotions down, and it literally goes away after you write it. Okay. The other thing is listening to affirmations. What are affirmations? If you type affirmations on YouTube, you type on Spotify, type on any music app, there are lots of affirmations which you can hear, plug into your earphones, hear. There are sleep affirmations, which are incredible. You can listen to sleep affirmations either for the whole 8-hour duration of your sleep, or for 15 minutes, or for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, even 15-20 minutes. Do that at night. You will notice two things. Okay. You will fall asleep quicker if you have difficulty falling asleep. You will wake up more positive the next day, and you will not know why. Okay. And why does this happen? So there is a reason that's written about online. You can search for it. Usually it is because of specific kinds of waves and a specific manner in which affirmations literally reprogram your mind. That's what is written. Okay. But you don't have to go into the science of it. The question is, try it, and if it works, use it. And I've tried it. It really works very well. Okay. So trying it and using it is better than waiting for the science to confirm or disprove this. Okay. Trying it for yourself is what matters. So you can listen to affirmations either on Spotify, any other music channel, the free version. You can listen to YouTube. I have listened to affirmations for entrepreneurs, affirmation on YouTube, affirmations for self-esteem, and they've been great. One more important one, okay, and this one's extremely great to sort of reparent yourself in a way, and also to affirm good things to yourself, right? And this is called mirror work. And trust me, those of you, there'll be some people who will find this useful and good, and there'll be some people who will say, what nonsense is this? Some of you will find this good and try it out, but the moment you go in front of the mirror, you will be like, this is crap. Or you try this, and you will just reject the whole idea on the face of it. That is where the most important work lies, okay? Because your body and mind are resisting that work to accept, to do anything different. They are resisting it because of the symptom. The symptom is so strong, so gripping, that your body cannot accept the idea, the mind cannot accept the idea that I need to be able to like, accept, and approve of myself. Okay. But mirror work can take care of a lot of your negative emotions. There is a book by 𝗬𝗲𝗍 on 21-day mirror work to heal yourself. You may want to get a copy of that. Okay. And as essentially it builds up gradually over a 21-day program, which enables you to start with just looking at yourself in the mirror, and then starting to say that you accept yourself, and begin to talk to yourself, and begin to love yourself. Okay, this is extremely important, because any past wounds, injuries, experiences, things that you felt bad about, things where you felt you got the wrong advice from adults, elders when you were younger, and that have left scars on you, you will have the opportunity to heal that for yourself. I cannot say whether this will be permanent or short term, but as you keep doing this situation will keep improving, and you will find yourself having power over your mental state. You'll have more control and power over your mental state, and it is connected to taking this action. The next one is about aligning your environment to your goals. Now you will see that, just one second. So you will see that when you're up to something important for yourself, everybody doesn't around you may not have the same goals. That's not important, but what is important is for them to give you the space to do what you're doing and to not interfere, not stop you, definitely not discourage you, definitely not taunt you, and so that you want to remove roadblocks in your environment. These could be physical, and this could be in the form of people who are taking jibes at you, nagging you, not letting you be, even friend circles who are saying come party, let's have fun. Okay. And it extends to logistics, where let's say, like this November I was out of Delhi for half of November because the pollution made it very difficult for me to work, and I've had faced this for 3 years, and I decided that last year that this year I'm going to skip a huge part of November because pollution doesn't work. So I was in Goa for 15 days, working there 10, 12 hours every day, but not from Delhi. Okay. So now that is one part of environment you want to align. You want to align your parents or your spouses or your siblings that, this is the work I'm doing. You can adjust with them, but the point is that, you don't want them to be taunting, distracting you, always willing to engage with you, doing things which are fundamentally inconsistent. So if you realize, and we'll share this with you later, that there is a fixed amount of hours, like at least 3,000 hours plus, that you need to give to your judiciary preparation. Depending on the number of states you attempt this exam for, it will be for 3 to 5,000 hours of study that you will put in. Now, there will be various things that will be inconsistent to this in your environment, right? Somebody says that, okay, for 3 hours a day, you have to do this. You have to do chores for 3 hours a day. And then you have to spend time with me. Then you have to do this. And you realize that after everything, you get only 2-3 hours a day to study. Now you know that with this, you can never win. You will never have enough time to cover 3,000 hours of work if you have only 3 hours a day to study. Okay, this is an example. So that means you need to align your environment, your parents. You need to create alternative systems. Maybe get a caretaker to take care of things. Okay, you'll have to figure out these alternative systems. And I'm not saying that it's possible for everyone to find the outcome. I am saying that aligning the environment is important, and without aligning the environment, it is impossible to even have a chance to succeed. Okay, so yes. Then setting ambitious goals and accomplishing them every day is very important. So there is one thing to keep in mind here. You can't set unwinnable goals. Okay, you can't set something like, I'll study 20 hours a day. I'll cut back on sleep. That's against your body's design. But you can say that I'm going to complete this much and give this test, and this is going to take me 10 hours or 11 hours of work in a day. I'm going to complete that, and I'm going to celebrate and acknowledge myself for 15 minutes after that. And I'm going to maybe work out and enjoy for about another hour or two, and then I'll sleep. So now you can set that kind of goals. It has to be winnable, okay? And it has to be ambitious, not a very tiny goal. And you want to accomplish that bit by bit, and you will increase the size of your ambition. Okay, so you will realize if you're on track for some time, your ambition, your desire, the speed with which you do things, your agility improves. Okay, so keep doing that and keep accomplishing them every day. Now, from time to time, you will fail. Okay, there is no guarantee to accomplishing them, but track how much have I progressed. That is the important part. Okay, and when you accomplish or even progress towards your ambition every day, and you're able to see that progress, your faith in yourself gets reaffirmed. And you will see that even over every 7 or 14-day period, you will see that you're a different version, a more evolved version of yourself than what you were 1 or 2 weeks back. Okay, so that's where the accomplishment helps. It does help you stay motivated because you've done X, and you'll be hungry for double, triple the achievement. And you will also have you'll have more faith in your own abilities. And if you do this every day, it only grows. But if you stop doing so, this will quickly wither away. So make sure you keep doing this regularly. The next part, okay, so this was about motivation and self-esteem levels and what personal development work is needed to be done. The next part is on nutrition. Okay, I'm going to go over this one a little more quickly. But you must remember this, okay? If you're having difficulty sleeping, difficulty staying fresh, difficulty staying alert, you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling angry, you're feeling dejected, you're having cravings, sugar cravings, you love comfort food, Chinese a lot, burgers, you know, you can love, that's not a problem, you can have also. But if you're regularly having those cravings, uh, then there may be a question of having some vitamin deficiencies. Okay, what are the things you can do about it? Okay, now understand, this is not medical advice, so you can consult, you should consult a medical practitioner if you want, but these are nutritional supplements, not medicines. Okay, so for brain health, there is some of the supplements that I've been taking. I can share with you over the past, how long has it been, about 18 months, and it's really led to a new kind of productivity, new kind of consistency, new level of focus. Okay, I've been taking a few more, but the most important ones and the ones that people usually struggle for brain health, that is vitamin B12, folate or folic acid, it's called, zinc, magnesium is great for brain health and sleep, calcium, and proteins. Okay, vitamin D, yeah. So calcium with vitamin D3 will enable you to have better bone health. How is this relevant? Very important. When you're sitting for 14 hours and studying, you don't want random backaches. You don't want lower back pain. Okay, so that's important. When you're sleeping at night, you want to have good sleep and want to wake up fresh, right? So I've noticed that, you know, if you can have your best sleep, you will be surprised. If you have that consistently, your productivity will be incredible. If you have 1.5 hour of less sleep than what is your normal, like if you're used to sleeping 8 hours and you sleep 6.5, it's almost like studying drunk. That's the level of mental alertness. That's why how much it goes down. Okay, so all these put together, you will feel that if you have it, you will feel more mentally alert and more active. You'll sleep better. Proteins is very important too, and it's not just for people who work out. Okay, there's a higher quantity for those who work out, but for those who don't also, some amount of protein is very important, because Indian diets are very rich in carbohydrate, but that's not enough for the brain health. You will need to have a sufficient component of protein component in it, okay, which is not there in our regular diets. Okay, for immunity, what to do? And this is a very important time for maintaining immunity. A lot of you are aware and have been taking care so that you want to stay safe from COVID and all of that. But three things: vitamin D3 helps along with for your bones and brain. Uh, D3 is useful. Vitamin C, pre and probiotics are extremely important. Vitamin C is going to, so you can have supplements of 1 gram or a little more, which will usually take care of a lot of, you know, accidental infections, things like that. So you're feeling sick, vitamin C is usually very, very helpful. And prebiotics and probiotics is what people ignore. Okay, so there are digestive bacteria in your intestine, and if those bacteria are damaged, your immunity is going to fall. So it is in your interest to take care that those that bacteria is in good health. So you can supplement it by consuming pre and probiotics. Okay, curd, for example, is a natural pre and probiotic, contains these substances, but it is important to have supplementation so that you get it in the right quantity. Okay, you are free to consult medical practitioners or nutritionists if you want. Okay, consulting a nutritionist is a great idea. So I'm going to move on. And for those of you, I know a lot of people who have the habit of, let's say, I have a headache, let me take a paracetamol, let me do this. Instead, if you're able to, have your immunity fixed or get better sleep, a lot of this will go away. Sometimes you feel feverish and you take a paracetamol instead. You might just want to look at, am I having enough nutrition? Okay, so nutrition is outside the zone of medicines. That is the difference. Okay, but feel free to get advice. The third part, you want to work out, and people ignore this. Why? Because you're not competing in the athletics, you're not a bodybuilder. What is the use of building? What's the point? Why are we dealing with this? And some people who are focusing on their body are obviously overdoing it, and you not overdoing it, but some people tend to overdo it, while you will see others that this person is a bodybuilder, really concerned about physique. And that's the only category of person you recognize. Either somebody who doesn't care at all about their physique, or somebody who's like in superb model level physical shape, or athlete level physical shape. That is not the point of working out. We're not talking about extreme workouts. We're talking about the workout that is really necessary for your body and mind to be in good health and shape, for which you do not need to work out even 1 hour for 6 days of a week. You can do it for 40 minutes, 30 minutes, three days of the week, 4 days of the week. And even that will have an impact on the quality of your attention, how alive you feel, and how much alert you are while you're reading. Because if you will see in judiciary preparation, retention is very important. If you read something, you should be able to retain it. Because if you're reading something from an act or a case law, there are 20 different ways in which a question can be asked from there. So if your mind is not alert, you will just read it and skip it. So you will need to keep your mind alert with the right kind of self-beliefs, with workout happening, and with the right quality of sleep. Okay. The other thing is, apart from workout, like you can do a physical workout, you may do yoga and meditation. You may focus on breath. You can divide your workouts in these categories. Even like just doing yoga will work, but you want to take your time out to do one of these at least. You're either working out, or you're working out plus meditating, or you're doing yoga. So that, and you can do this like 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. I have included a new schedule for myself because I was noticing increasing levels of anxiety personally. So I decided to use a paid app called Simply Yoga, or Daily Yoga, it's one of them, which has structured 18-minute yoga sessions. And in 2 days, I felt a great difference in my level of focus and calmness. Okay. Literally, my happiness level has gone up. So you want to focus on these because it will improve the quality of your work. Then continuous measurement is very, very important. People are not usually measuring. Do you know what people measure? People measure how much preparation did I get done? How many pages did I read? How many chapters did I read? How many books did I read? How many sections of the Barak did I read? Now, this is a competitive exam where seats are not even released every month in every state. You have a 10, 20, 50 seats sometimes in states, and 50,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh people competing. Okay. So you want to get a little more sophisticated than measuring the amount of pages you have read, right? You want to do it a little better. What can you measure? You can measure, you can just 1 minute. Give me a second. There's a noise here which I need to get stopped. Just give me a second, guys. Yeah. Just starting the PPT again. Okay. So what do you measure now? You can measure, you all can hear me, right? You can measure your retention. Okay, how many mocks you've taken. You can measure on a daily basis. If I read 20 pages, what do I retain from there? Okay, you want to measure, now this is the objective part of studying. Okay, you also want to measure, did I work out 5 days or 4 days of the week? Did I take out 20 minutes at least to do yoga for 4 days of the week? Am I having the right nutritional supplements, or have I been postponing my health checkup? You want to measure, am I listening to affirmations every day? Am I doing the mirror work that I need to? Okay, this is the side of self-development also. How much self-development activity I'm putting in. You don't have to put in a lot. So I'm not saying go do mirror work for your whole day. Then when will you study, right? It's not that. This is not a competition for self-development. This is about some things you need to do to keep yourself in good health so that you can study to the peak. Okay, so mirror work, for example, takes barely 10 minutes a day. Sometimes it can be done in 5. Okay, even that much will really help you. So you want to measure that, am I regularly doing this every day? Did I do this today? And if you want, you can keep a checklist. Okay, so that you can tick mark, or you can have those printed calendars where you can write M for mirror work, whatever you did on that day, you have that square for the day. You write M for mirror work, N for nutrition, you can write W for workout. Okay, so M, N, W, like that you write. So then you do that, you will be able to see that how much you have been able to do that time. Okay, but measurement of this is also very important along with measurement of your study. But measurement of your study is not by number of hours. It is not by number of pages read, number of chapters completed. No, we're going to give you a separate session, take a separate session on what to measure, how to measure more effectively. Okay, because whatever you can measure, you can improve. Peter Drucker, who is the father of modern management, he said that whatever you measure can be managed. If you can't measure something, you can't manage it. So if you're not measuring your retention, uh, your progress from yesterday to today, if you read something, you didn't measure that, can you retain it? That means you can't improve your learning capacity. And many people continue for years studying with suboptimal and impaired learning habits. That is why you want to measure, so that you can do this effectively. So you will measure preparation strategy, workout, steps taken every day. For those of you who are walking, or if you're jogging, running, you can measure calories burned. Okay, you can measure hours slept. That is important. So I measure the hours I slept, I measure my average stress level, I measure steps taken, I measure whether I did the workout or yoga or not. Okay, then you will need to learn to deal with short-term failures for big wins. So this is a longer one. I didn't say learn to deal with failure, and there's a reason for that. Okay, one failure is that you failed to crack the exam, and one failure is that you failed to accomplish what you planned for the day. Okay, now the one failure that you will face more frequently and that people don't deal with is I failed to do what I planned. They ignore that, or they get so demotivated that the next day they don't plan. Now that increases the likelihood of the final failure. Okay, you want to instead deal with the short-term failures. Okay, accept them and move on, see, track progress, so that you minimize the risk of the final day failure. Because in the long run, if you're able to make progress, your daily ambition, you cannot measure. Okay, you might have set goals which are way too high, way too unrealistic, but did you make progress? And the next day, did you increase that progress? If you do that for 360 days of a year, for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you're going to be a formidable force to reckon with. Okay, you're going to be prepared, you're going to give a good attempt. Now that's what you need to learn how to deal with. That if I didn't accomplish my goal, did I still study? Did I make progress? Did I make is it measurable? Okay, and now what are the two common patterns that people have? Two patterns that people have. One is avoidance, that they will ignore where they are completely. So they will not measure, they will ignore the idea. Did they fail to achieve their goal? Okay, fine, who cares, doesn't matter. So that's like avoidance. Okay, the other way to deal with it is self-bashing. These are the ways you don't want to deal with. uh, Self-bashing means, oh, I'm bad, this is not done, this is horrible, and then beating yourself up, wallowing in self-pity. It's going to take up your time, it's going to be emotionally stressful. You will not get answers for your insufficiencies. You will require others to consistently hold your hand, lift you up out of the ground. But this is really a form of self-pity that is harming you. Okay, it is harming you from achieving your goals. It is creating dependency on others. What you want to do is simply measure progress and figure out how to go ahead next. Okay, that is all you want to do, and over time things improve. So you cannot let avoidance to, so you need to recognize the progress. You can't beat yourself up and demotivate yourself if you couldn't achieve what you stood for. And for those of you who say that, I've always stopped, I've always wanted to do things the right way, I want the ideal approach, the best, I want to prepare for judiciary in the ideal way, I want my daily study plan to be perfect. No, this is not going to happen. This is not a predetermined mathematical path. So you want to be adaptive, flexible, self-accepting. Okay, please understand, you have to be adaptive. Today you got done 40%, tomorrow might be 120%. Okay, so you want to be flexible. Sometimes in a particular week you will be doing 10 times the work that you otherwise do. Okay, and then another week will be slower. So I used to have this big problem that I would plan a lot and I would only get done 20-30%, and that would be so tiring after that, because 70% was left, that the next day I would completely be demotivated and even not act on my plans. The other thing I used to do sometimes is that I would when I would achieve 10 out of 10 things, I would get them done. Next day I would plan 20 things. Okay, and that also was unachievable because I already stretched myself the day I did 10 things. Okay, so you don't want to get into this hero syndrome where you think that, I did it one day, I put so much effort and I cracked it. That's not going to happen. This is about doing it steadily and putting a lot of effort consistently. Okay, it's not going to be perfect. You will find holes, you will find gaps, which you will have to plug over time. Okay, but the overachiever perfectionist syndrome stops you from putting a good show consistently merely because it wasn't meeting up to your idealistic standards. That's not okay. Okay. Now, how can you continue with this? Today, we started off with this conversation on how to keep your mindset going, right? And I'm going to hear some chats and then I'm going to discuss how can you keep up with this, right? So let me just see what are the chats and the Q&A box. What are the questions? Am I audible? I hope there is no problem. Okay. I had paused in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to quickly look at the questions on chat. Shambhavi got it, Arun got it, Ushashi understood, Vartika got it, Preeti. Okay, you all have been introducing yourselves. Okay, so I'm going to look at any questions that came. Tamanna Tyagi, I have not cracked the judiciary exam myself. Okay, however, I am together with our team, which has coached people, hundreds of people, to become judges in different state exams. I've been working on the method that people need to adopt for judiciary coaching. I have trained thousands of law students and lawyers in building successful careers in the private sector so far. In the personally, I have trained and through 𝗨𝗡𝘂. Okay, and in our team, we've got trained people for the judiciary exam. So when I started to look at this, I saw that there is this area is completely missing, the mental health side. Okay, and that is where I am focusing on to start with, and we're going to bring in a lot more resources to you for cracking the judiciary. Okay, now Akash has an important question, that is there any way to stimulate the mind when it feels that saturation point has been reached? Yes. So when you're saturated, you've overworked yourself and you're not taking care of mental health. So rather than stimulating the mind, you want to relax the mind. Okay, Akash, and that means not Netflix binging, because that might tire you out. Okay. Of course, there will be people who will say in our time we could just study 14 hours straight in their time. Okay, one generation, two generations before. Now you have attractive options to spend your time in. But the question to ask is it rejuvenating or exhausting? Okay, and what you want to do to rejuvenate is your call. So you could want to just sleep off, you might want to do some meditation, you might also want to relax and speak to friends. Okay, you might want to hang out, but if you drink when you hang out, you might realize that you're tired the next day. So you might want to hang out and not drink. You might want to exercise a little, you might want to listen to some music. Okay, trust me, you are underestimating the value of even half an hour of proper relaxation. Akash, is it a good strategy to take more of what can be digested in the plate so that a little more can be achieved? Yeah, you can try to stretch yourself a little bit. Okay, stretch yourself a little bit always. Okay, so make it winnable, but a little bit of a stretch. Sagar, you usually zone out while studying. How can you prevent it? You usually zone out. I'll tell you why. Poor learning habits, not planning what to study, not planning what to complete for the day. You're looking at the day when I finish preparing for my judiciary exam. Okay, and that's the only measurement you have, and you're studying today. And that day might be 1 year down the line. Your studying is not broken down into enough sub levels. There's no plan on a day-to-day level and a week-to-week level and a month-to-month level. That tells you that, boss Sagar, you're done for the day. Today, from this page to this page, I complete and I give these 3 tests to understand how much I retain, and I can see my report. I'm going to be done. Okay, why? Because this is the rate at which I need to go for 1 year and then I'm done preparing, or this is the rate at which I need to go for 5 years, then I'm done preparing. Now this is not a 40% while I am done preparing. This is about competitive exam done preparing. Okay, so you can imagine, to pass your college exams, you can prepare for a week before exams and pass. So that's a different done preparing. This is about how to do that for 2 years or 18 months. Okay, and where you're struggling, Sagar, is in not having this plan. Okay, I'm going to just share with you guys before I take the Q&A questions. I'm going to share with you what to currently do to stay in touch. Okay, there are a set of free workshops I'm organizing on this area. Okay, which includes mental health plus study tips and tricks for judiciary exam planning, out your preparation, all of that. Now on 8th December, this is Tuesday, 6 to 9 p.m. Next Tuesday, 6 to 9 p.m. I'm taking a free workshop on how 99% judiciary aspirants sabotage their own preparation and how you can do it right. We're going to discuss we're going to discuss the pitfalls, the bad study habits, the bad study advice that we get, how to steer clear of it, and how we can make our own study plan. So Sagar, this is some beginning to the question that you're asking that will start to get answered there. And for the next 4 days, keep coming to my webinars. 7:30 to 8:30 is the time. How to prepare an effective study plan. We're going to discuss that, okay? Including some secrets that toppers and coaching classes won't tell you about your preparation. The real cost of not cracking judiciary exam in the first attempt. What happens and what is the actual implication of second or third attempt? Okay. Then we are going to discuss what are the backup career options that one has and how can you create a backup career option for yourself. Should you create a backup career option, and how can you ensure that the backup is not a distraction for you and it should not compromise on your judiciary prep. Okay. And the fourth topic that we will discuss is the main challenges that a judiciary aspirant faces while undertaking self-study. So self-study is something we're going to look at closely. What are the pros, cons, and the challenges one faces? Okay. And that after these webinars, we're going to have a long 3-hour workshop, exhaustive, where we discuss a whole lot of the negative patterns, how to steer clear of the pitfalls, and how to create your own study plan, how to get started on it. Okay, that's what we're going to discuss. Now I'm going back to the question. So I'm going to keep a lot of you may be in our WhatsApp groups and you'll be receiving our emails. So keep watching out for the invites to the workshop, is a free workshop, and to these webinars that I will be taking. All right, now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to take questions on the Q&A panel. Prakhar, yes, you will get the links on WhatsApp. And you will also get the links through various messaging channels that we have. You can also go to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝑠ikho.com/webinars and you will find these. Okay. Then one more question I had from Shambhavi. How much does a fixed sleeping schedule help in increasing productivity? So Shambhavi, you might want to take a sleeping band to determine that. For me, I need about 7 hours every day at least, and one day in 3 days I need to have 8.5 hours. Okay, so my sleeping pattern is like 6.5, 7, 7, 7.5, 8, like that it goes. Okay, and then that cycle repeats. For me, that's what works for me. If I'm working out heavily, which hasn't happened for a long time now, but if I work out heavily, I may need to sleep for 8.5 hours. Okay, but that works. Cutting it short means I'm usually not fully attentive. I get tired fast. I can't hold my focus. Okay, Gaurav. During preparation, we reach a stage when we are alone. We feel hungry, angry, and alone, and not able to overcome. Exactly, Gaurav. This is where having support from coaches, peers, and having your environment aligned to your preparation strategy and your goals is important. Because after a hard day's work, when you speak to your siblings, your parents, your spouse, if anybody is married, that is, or then you want to feel that yes, you are valued and you did a good job, and you should be able to share that. You should be able to connect with your peers and say that, okay, I did this together. So sometimes, like for example, our students, they can share with the coaches that, okay, I am not fully focused, I'm not motivated, and they have a weekly coaching call to stay motivated and plan out their studies. So this happens when you're doing it you're on your own and you don't have guidance and help available when you need it. Okay, and to some extent there could be an angle of self-esteem also, where you generally may have a pattern of feeling lonely. So how you address it is by having more people go the journey with you. Okay, so create a study group or take access to other groups, basically other training systems which can help you out. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 also has a training system, so that is one way to think of it. Then Molly, I have long gap and restarted my career again. How to sit for longer and focus time? So Molly, you want to think of whether, if you're clear that you want to do this or not. Second, you want to start visualizing. Do I want to crack the judiciary? What is it going to enable for me? What happens when I become a judge? What all can I achieve with that? What kind of life will I have? Visualization is very important. Second level is that you need to plan. If you don't have a plan, you will get distracted very easily, because you know what, this is a very long journey. If you plan to travel, let's say 3000 kilometers uh, in 5 days, okay, you need to stay on track in a 5 day period, so that you're not, if you're going for a drive 3000 kilometers 5 or 6 days, you want to cover a certain amount of distance every day. Stay very focused. Now imagine if instead of 5 days this becomes 60,000 kilometers 3 months, 4 months. Okay, people who are doing intercontinent drives, like Bombay to London drives, people have done all of that. Okay, now you have to be even more focused and consistent. So you have to plan, okay, on day 1 I'm here, day 3 I reach there, day 7 I'm going to halt at there, day 20 I'm going to halt there. So you need that with the visualization to be able to do this. Anonymous attendee, zoning out I dealt with. Saturation point question I dealt with. Akash, I dealt with your question. Anonymous attendee, how to cope up with anxiety and frustration during the preparation. Exactly. So how to cope up with so when does that happen? Okay, that happens when you're trying to study and you realize 4 or 5 scenarios. Okay, let's just discuss. This is a very important one because it regularly, I've faced this in various scenarios. So people disturbing you, that hey, I need this, hey, I need this, what are you doing, come play, hang out with me, come, let's go out for dinner. Okay, that can happen. That is one level of frustration, where you're getting disturbed again and again by tasks or chores, or by having to interact with someone. Another level is that I'm studying but I'm just not able to learn and retain. Okay, and I'll get frustrated. Another level is that I plan to study 10 chapters and give 5 mocks, but I managed to study only 3 chapters and give 1 mock. And if I do this for 2 days, I'm going to be crazy frustrated with myself. Okay, then another one is that I studied a lot, but when I gave the mock, I didn't crack it. Okay, and I realized that 8 hours I studied, but I scored very little in my mock. 30% I scored. So that is another level of frustration. So the thing is that both anxiety and frustration can be distractions for your study. So you want to go objective about it. Okay, and this is the logical answer, that you want to go objective about it, and anxiety and frustration are emotions, so you want to make it as objective as possible. Now the thing is that your mind will not want to go objective about it. When you're in the grip of anxiety and frustration, you will be like, to hell with everything else, I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to just ignore. Okay, at that point what you want to do is, that is where the regular work that I said, no, do your visualization, affirmations, workout, or mental health, yoga, that is where that helps, because you will have so much focus and planning that the moments where you feel an anxiety or frustration, where you go out of control, those will start to reduce. Okay, and you will find it easier to get objective about things. Okay, now this you cannot do, or you cannot measure it like this, that now I'm anxious, let me just work out. You can't, because at that time you will be in the grip of it. But if you've regularly been doing that, you will realize that the frequency with which you feel that anxiety and frustration reduces. Also, you might want to think of nutrition. If you're having the nutritional supplements that I just shared, you will realize that you don't feel so angry by missing goals. Okay, and I have personally felt that when I'm having the right kind of nutrition, I have more capacity to tolerate regular human shortcomings, failure. Okay, and focus on how to improve that. All right, so guys, I'm looking for some feedback here. I'm excited to know about how you found this session. What can you take away from this, for those of you who are starting or in the middle of judiciary prep or going to reattempt the exam? What can you take away from today's session? And I really look forward to seeing you on my other sessions also. And for those of you who've asked questions, did you find these questions to be helpful? Can you share some takeaways, please, so that I have a sense also? And Astha, if you can share some webinar links for people to attend, that'll be great. For whatever webinars have been prepared in the next 3-4 days, we'll just wait till you share these links, okay, on the Zoom chat. And I'm looking forward to addressing questions. I'm going to stop the Zoom Sorry, I'm going to stop the YouTube broadcast at the moment.